Hey everyone, this is Chris DeFirio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by the Ground Control Cyclops Brewer from Voga Coffee. The Ground Control will unlock levels of your coffee that you never thought possible. Through the SCA award-winning technology, it's able to extract an incredible range of flavors and give you control to do it over and over again, making batch brew coffee better than it's ever been in our industry, and I mean that sincerely. The Ground Control not only makes game-changing batch brew coffee, but also tea, batch diced lattes, batch cold brew, and so it's not only a quality game changer, it's also a game changer when it comes to versatility. To find out more information about getting this in your store, go to groundcontrol.coffee. Again, that website to learn more about the Ground Control Cyclops Brewer, groundcontrol.coffee. Today's episode is also brought to you by La Marzocco. They've been making espresso machines by hand in Florence, Italy since 1927. They have grown lockstep with the specialty coffee retail industry, serving us with what I consider the most reliable equipment you could get for the heart of your business, the espresso. They listen to the feedback from their customers. They have made so many great innovations over the years, even to this day, with their new KB90 machine, has the straight-in locking portafilters. We've never seen that before, but it helps with ergonomics. Auto flush for increased cleanliness and speed. Built-in scales that increase the consistency of your espresso. And it's just one example of many that you could find. La Marzocco USA is available to help you get the best equipment for your cafe. Just reach out to one of their sales directors by emailing info@lamarzocousa.com. And again, definitely visit them at their website over at lamarzocousa.com. There's a few things that we need to talk about when it comes to incentivizing staff. And this comes from a question that I got from an audience member at one of my lectures over at Coffee Fest. And the question was, how do I incentivize my managers to really get them involved? And a lot of times what we mean by this is we see them and we don't really see as much passion as we want to see. We don't see them being as involved in the business or as active as we would really want them to be. And so we feel like we need to incentivize them with something. And there's a lot of ways that you could incentivize somebody. Of course, there is financially, you can incentivize them with quarterly bonuses, raises annually. Stick to the schedule of those things. Look at what you can do, not what you can get away with. When it comes to compensation for your staff, I know your business has a limit to how much it can spend on staff based on what's coming in or how much money is available. But really the default needs to be how much can you spend on your staff and management versus the mentality that says, how can I get away with spending as little as possible on my staff? It's really difficult to, especially now, finding people to fill positions. And, no wonder, because we've treated, I think, baristas and managers alike as, I don't want to say throwaway, but kind of like we have a certain staff blindness when it comes to people where we kind of just take them for granted and that they're always going to be there. And so we don't actively consider how to retain them. And financially speaking, we don't find that we're very, very motivated to pay more, because if we are blind to their worth in our business, not as people, I'm talking as professionals here. If we're blind to their worth in our business, we're not going to be motivated to pay what we can. We're just going to keep them at the same rate and then wonder why they want more money. All the while, it's really our responsibility to thoroughly know what kind of value they bring. And my opinion is, when you start to realize this, when you start to focus in on it, on what they're doing every day and how what they do holds the business together, you'll be incentivized to incentivize them through financial rewards. That's one way to do it. And beyond money, if you reach a cap of what you can pay, and there's really not much more that you can do outside of the business making more money itself, there's opportunities for professional development, events, all of that stuff. You could do competitions. You can invest into, a one-time class on a particular thing that will help them in their career beyond your coffee bar, developing them as people, that's another thing. What I find to be one of the biggest motivators for people to give 100% in their jobs is that they believe in what the group is doing and that they play a vital role in something bigger than themselves. Let's call that culture. Really, creating a culture that helps them desire its thriving and continuance is one of the best ways, maybe the best way, to motivate staff. If you're not making the kind of money that allows you to pay them the kind of money that they want to get paid, but they understand that you're trying your best. Beyond that, if they believe in the culture and what you stand for in your values, and they see that those values are being put into action every day through what you do, how you treat them, how you treat customers and others, they're more likely in times where they're tempted to compromise on standards or values to actually stand up for those values. Not only that, but to hold each other accountable for those things. It's more like, we do things this way, this is our culture, and we have to protect it. If you don't have that kind of values turned into action reality in your store, if you're not resourcing your team well, if you're not caring for them, if the culture is more, us versus them, like leaders versus staff type of mentality, and there's not great communication. I'll link to one of the episodes here in the show notes, 10 Steps to Being a People First Leader. It's a great place to start. When we don't have those things in place, the culture that forms is all about protecting itself against the company because they view the company and you maybe as a threat to them, an unknown that needs to be protected against. And you don't want that. The motivation has to come from knowing that the stuff that they hear you talk about and see you doing on a daily basis in the normal business of a cafe is the kind of thing that they resonate with, and they want that for themselves, and so they will then protect it. It reminds me of the Founder Friday episode 139, with Kusanya Cafe co-founder Phil Sipka, talking about their Englewood, Chicago coffee shop, and how even though it was in a part of town that was not necessarily considered safe, it had a lot of crime, and people told him that you have to put bars on your windows, they never did, because they were all about building something for the community that was welcoming. Bars are not welcoming. Great episode to listen to. But what he said in that episode was that business, because it was built by the community and employs people from the community, and it lives out values that are important to the community, is one of the most protected businesses, people looking out for its welfare like no other, because it represents something deep and meaningful to them. If you want incentivization of your staff, there are some topical means to do that. Money, professional development, all of that stuff. But values in action consistently, and building a culture that resonates with your staff, something that they want to protect because they see the value and they see themselves adding that value and gaining from it, that's the way that you really want to motivate your staff. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time to do that. But I do think that it's worth doing and looking into, because it has a long-term impact on whether your business and the people that help you run your business thrive. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me, and I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break, from keys to the shop.